Welcome to the Why We Try podcast. Have you ever tried something you thought you would never do, but ended up doing it anyway? That was me. I'm Caroline Gardner, a stay-at-home mom of 3 who thought I would never try something like a triathlon. Until I did, and everything changed. This is a show about people who dared to try something they thought they would never do, until they did. So let's go find out why we try. Hey guys, it's me, Caroline, and this is Zone 1 with the Why We Try podcast. All right, today it's just you and me. Let's go. I hope you all have brought your favorite beverage. I have for you. Here we go. No, it is not Athletic Greens today. Today, I'm joining you with something else. It is a recovery beverage. I already had my Athletic Greens this morning, early in the morning, and now it is time for me to have a recovery beverage after a workout. So I am coming in with Tailwind. Okay, Tailwind Rebuild Recovery Chocolate Flavor. That's one of my favorites. I think they have vanilla too. It is vegan, non-GMO, soy and dairy-free, gluten-free. I love how Tailwind puts them in these individual packages. You can also get them in one big package and scoop it out yourself, but this helps me on the go, and sometimes I forget. I am always packing everybody else's stuff and have to remember mine. So this is an easy way for me to throw it in the bag, but be mindful of checking the back. It has the nutrition facts on the back and tells you how many carbohydrates, and that's really important. In the beginning, I like 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, when I started like being mindful of everything I was having after my training, that 30-minute window right after you finish a training is so important. Your body is sitting there looking at you like, hey, I just did all of this for you. What's in it for me? And it's really important to get the good stuff in. So cheers, guys. Let's have a sip of our favorite beverage. I love chocolate. Okay. So you guys are really good at doing your homework. So thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, don't worry, you can do it as you're listening. And 5 stars, you're giving me 5 stars every time. This is incredible. I appreciate you so much. And your reviews, you're taking the time to write a review. That's super sweet. Thank you. I personally do write reviews and little ones, like a quick something. It really helps in the overall process of podcasting. Like I said, it brings it up to the top if someone new or someone coming back in, from being on a hiatus for a while. It brings the podcast up. So thanks so much. And special shout out to Keisha. She was my 5th guest on the show way back in 2021. She writes relatable topics and people. The topics are great because they are relatable from regular people with regular lives. We all face the same challenges, but love the sport of triathlon. Also, Caroline does a great job at interviewing. Thanks, Keisha. Keisha and I are working on something that we talked about, and that's the coolest part of this whole entire show. We talked back in 2021 about how, we want to empower others to get out there. So we have created a 100-mile women's ride. It's virtual as well. You can find it on Strava. I'll put the information in the notes of the show. And this is a group of women that are all going to be coming together some, myself included, are going to be riding their first 100 miles. Keisha, I'm sure, is well past her 100 miles. She's an incredible cyclist. Please go on to Instagram and look her up. I'll put her information in the notes of the show, but she is Woman Minded Fitness on Instagram. So it's Woman Minded Fitness on Instagram. And we decided that we were going to start a GoFundMe for Lamise James, who is a South Floridian beginner cyclist. She's a mom, a single mom of 2 who, while working 2 jobs, needed to provide for her family. She did not have a car. Okay. So she bought a bike on layaway, and she was riding her bike to these jobs. Okay. And she fell in love with biking. She fell in love on this mountain bike that she got. And she's now looking for, she's saved over the years, she's raising these two kids. And over the years, she was able to save up for a car that came first to her. And getting a bike, I mean, that's an extra. These are extras, guys. This is not like, oh, I'm going to go get myself a brand new bike because I want to. No, no. She was putting her kids' needs first. They needed new basketball shoes. They needed new clothes and things for school. So they were coming first. And so to find out that this woman is like, I want to join you guys. I want to do this. I want to be out there and enjoying riding. And to know that she couldn't afford a nice bike, we decided like, hey, if we all chip in, we can help her. And we talked to Max Cycle. They're going to work with us to put a nice package together for her. So thank you guys over at Max Cycle. And so stay tuned because we're going to be talking about it. The link is in my bio on Instagram for you to help us if you want to help us raise funds to give this gift to her and help propel her and motivate her. Okay. I mean, it's just amazing to see the light in someone's face shine when they fall in love with biking or running or swimming or just any kind of physical activity. It's really fun to be part of. So stay tuned for that, you guys. And I want to go ahead and reflect, right? So I come in and I reflect a little bit about last week's guest. And oh my gosh, last week's guest. Just take a minute here. Ultra Tim Davis. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And to your wife, Mariah, for having such courage to come forward and write this book. He wrote this book called Tripolar, the story of a bipolar triathlete. Guys, I listened to it and I still get goosebumps. Within the first couple chapters, my heart rate went up. It's an emotional book in the beginning. It's the trauma that he went through as a young boy was devastating and actually mind blowing. I still can't believe what he witnessed as a young boy and then what he had to continue to endure as far as abuse, and it was physical and it was verbal, and like I can just feel his energy when he's explaining what he was going through. But then he grew up and he leaned into these coping mechanisms called drugs and alcohol, like many of us have done. And how brave for him to put this in a book. So, I highly recommend you getting the book. I ended up getting it in paperback because I needed a highlighter and I need to go through. So I'm going to read just a little bit so that you guys get a taste. And here we go. There is a phenomenon that athletes who compete and race well know. I'm not sure if it has a name, but I like to call it the phenomenon of more, or just can't get enough. When you spend hours and hours training for your next race, researching how to prepare, looking for and finding the most effective and affordable gear that won't chafe or cause blisters, you become obsessed. You go about your day at work and fulfill your duties as a father and husband, while the majority of your free moments are spent thinking about when and where your next workout will be, or tinkering with your training plan, such as thinking about when you'll be able to fit in that 3 to 4 hour ride after school. It consumed me. My wife used to get irritated when I said I had 2 full-time jobs aside from parenting and trying to be a good hubby, my day job and my job as a full-time triathlete. She always reminds me that you don't get paid for the triathlete part, and you don't have to do all the triathlons you do. But that is the thing. When you are a bipolar triathlete or tripolar like me, you do have to do more triathlons. Exercise had become an integral part of my recovery program. There were many times where I might get stressed out or depressed about something and feel like I needed a meeting, but there isn't a meeting happening right at that time. There were lots of times when this recovering bipolar addict couldn't deal with life on life's terms, but I could always throw on my running shoes and run a few miles, grab my bike and ride, or do a bunch of laps in the pool until I calmed down. I discovered exercise helped me to get calm again when I was becoming restless, irritable, and discontent. Exercise became essential for my mental health maintenance, and triathlons were now my panacea. I became tripolar to treat my bipolar. I I'm just there's so much that Tim talks about in this book and how profound I connected with this book in so many ways. And there's many parts that it had me like questioning um alcohol in my life because every time, first of all, I'm like growing up in high school, or rather, yeah, in high school, that's great. In college, um, Toucan Sam, that was my nickname. Toucan Sam, which, that's great that it only takes two alcoholic beverages for me to feel a buzz. Um, but alcohol has been something for me that I'll be honest, it never helps me. It never helps me. So, reading his book, at the end, there's a part that his wife writes that is beautiful. Mariah, thank you so much for putting down your experience and your point of view and what it's like to be a wife of a tripolar, bipolar triathlete, and everything that she went through in being there for him. That is not an easy uh, task, journey. And I'm just grateful that they share all that rawness in there. And also, so much information at the end of the book. He gives information for those that are struggling with mental illness, those that are struggling with addiction, for those that are partners with someone who has an addiction, um, because that's something that I think we fail to talk about in life, those family members that are affected um, by the family member who is addicted. So I'm grateful for that. He also put in the back, as he mentioned on the show, um, he has a ton of triathlon training um, plans that he put in there. He kept track of absolutely everything, and that's really awesome to be able to go back. He said that he kept some like a little journal in his car where he would do his training and then he would go back and like write down. And I just thought that that was such a neat thing because right now we have electronics and we can do training peaks and that's great. But to hand write something down really quick, or even if you record it, maybe how you really felt. I know Training Peaks has this thing where it's like smiley face, frowny face, and that's great. And it does have a part where you can put comments. And lately I've been trying to do that because what I feel right after a training, what I feel before my training, it's just two very different things. So, in the back on page 365, Tim puts top 10 life skills for reaching your goals. And I think when it comes to completing 12 Ironman triathlons, 7 100-mile endurance runs, and now he's on his way to completing a 200-mile ultra running event. You might want to check that out. So thank you so much, Tim. Now, this coming week, which this is probably going to air right before Valentine's Day. And then my next guest is going to air right on Valentine's Day or the day after. And rightfully so, because he's coming in all the way from freezing cold New Hampshire. I'm so jealous. Um, he is a 2-time heart failure survivor. Survivor. He is an Ironman finisher from Lake Placid, Ironman finisher, 6-time Boston marathon finisher. He is a coach, he's a husband, and a dad to 3 beautiful girls. So cool. He is Jeremy Woodward, and I'm so excited for him to come on the show. He is also a podcast host and producer of Get Inspired with Jeremy, the Iron Heart Jeremy. And he recently wrote a book as well. So he's an author. He wrote Heart Failure to Victory, and he co-authored it with Ben Bear. So much cool information coming at you in this next podcast, guys. So I highly recommend going on to his website, ironheartjeremy.com, and I'll put all this in the notes for you to check out his book. You can buy it on Amazon. And in the podcast in the show that you're going to hear, to go through a surgery, and not once, but twice. I mean, twice he had to go through this. So on a personal note, the month of February is an important month, right? So it's African American Black History Month, and it is also the American Heart Association have deemed that it's heart. I'm going to say this Heart Health Awareness Month. So that's really important. And I'm grateful that Jeremy is coming on to talk about this very topic right around Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day for me is going to be a little bit different. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are going to have a different type of Valentine's Day. Hopefully you're with the ones that you love. And if your loved ones are far away, I hope that you can tune into this show and feel this amazing support this man had, and drive that he had, this desire that he had from inside that helped him get through not once, but 2 times some of the most difficult moments of his life. Amazing, incredible. So look forward to sharing that episode with you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Okay. And keep those comments coming. Keep the reviews coming. Please reach out on Instagram, on the Why We Try podcast Instagram, and say hello. Let me know how it's going. Okay, guys. And soon I'm going to be posting something a little bit about your favorite beverage, because I really want to know what you guys are bringing. What are you drinking at home? Okay. So have a good rest of your day, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Why We Try podcast. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time.